The Jurian Empire stretched its dark tendrils across the stars, swallowing planet after planet with ease. For 10 years, no one could stop them. Their ships shot beams that cut through any shield. Their hulls bounced back or soaked up enemy fire like it was nothing. The biggest ships looked like black cathedrals floating in space, covered in glowing energy lines and leading smaller but deadly ships. Admiral Ta-1 ruled this mighty fleet. He was tall with gray skin and 6 fingers on each hand. His black uniform bore many medals that showed his victories. He never smiled. He never needed to. On the bridge of his biggest ship, the Eternal Dominance Ta-1 watched floating images of their latest win. The Nebulan people had tried to fight back. They had built up their fleet for 20 years, preparing for this day. It didn't matter. The Jurian ships tore through them in 3 days. Now broken ships and dead bodies circled the Nebulan planets. "Admiral, the Nebulan leaders have given up," said Commander Du Yun, his right-hand man. Du Yun was younger, eager to please, with a thin face and quick eyes. "They want to know what we want from them." Ta-1 didn't even look up from the screens. "We want everything. Full surrender. All their mines, farms, and factories belong to us now." He waved his hand. Like always, the bridge crew worked quietly. They knew their jobs well. The ship hummed with power as it hung in space above the defeated Nebulan homeworld. Through the main window, Ta-1 could see the planet's blue oceans and white clouds. Soon their color would change as the Jurian mining ships began their work. "Any losses on our side?" Ta-1 asked, though he already knew the answer. 3 small ships damaged." "No deaths," replied Du Yun. "Their weapons couldn't touch our shields." Ta-1 nodded. It was the same story every time. The Jurians would arrive. The locals would fight. The Jurians would win. Sometimes it took days, sometimes weeks, but the end was always the same. Later, in his private room, Ta-1 looked through reports. One caught his eye. A small note about a place called Terra, far away on the edge of the galaxy. "These humans had strange ways of fighting," the report said. "They used solid bullets and missiles instead of energy beams. They built ships with thick armor rather than strong shields. The report writer called their methods primitive and not worth worrying about." Ta-1 almost deleted the report, but something made him save it instead. Maybe it was the picture of a human battleship, all sharp angles and gun barrels, so different from the smooth Jurian ships. Maybe it was just a feeling. Either way, he decided to keep an eye on these Terra people, though he didn't expect much. "Computer, save this report on Terra for later," he said. The computer beeped in response. The next day, Ta-1 stood before the Nebulan Council. The local leaders looked small and scared. Their skin was pale blue, and their 4 eyes blinked nervously as the Admiral spoke. "Your minerals will go to our factories. Your food will feed our workers. Your people will do as they are told." His voice was cold and flat. "Resist, and we will destroy 1 city for each act of defiance." The head counselor, an old Nebulan with silver hair, looked up at Ta-1. "Why do you take and take? What do you want with all these worlds?" Ta-1 tilted his head. No one had asked him this before. After a moment he answered, "Because we can. Because no one can stop us." As he walked back to his ship, Ta-1 felt a strange new feeling. Not worry, exactly. The Jurian Empire was too strong to worry, but something like a shadow on his mind. There were still many stars out there, many worlds to take, and somewhere, maybe, someone who could fight back. That night, as the Eternal Dominance left the Nebulan system, Ta-1 looked again at the report on Terra. The humans were far away, not a threat yet, but their pictures stayed in his mind as he fell asleep. Those odd boxy ships, so ugly compared to Jurian craft, but looking somehow dangerous. "Terra," he mumbled as sleep took him. "Perhaps we'll meet someday." In his dreams, for the first time in years, Admiral Taiwan saw his ships burning. 3 small Jurian ships went missing along the edge of space where no one had fully explored. They were just scouts, sent to look at new places to conquer. When they didn't report back, Admiral Taiwan raised an eyebrow, but nothing more. "Probably just a sensor failure," said General Sun Ki at the morning meeting. "Or a space storm." A week later, a small trading post stopped sending messages. This post sat on a tiny moon where Jurian merchants traded with alien ships. 50 Jurian soldiers guarded it. Now it was quiet. "Send a patrol ship to check," ordered Taiwan. "But don't worry too much. These things happen." The patrol ship never arrived. Its last message mentioned seeing something strange on its sensors before it too went silent. Now more eyebrows went up at command meetings, but still, the mighty Jurian Empire had bigger concerns. They were planning attacks on 2 new star systems. A few lost ships wasn't worth changing their plans. Until Vega Prime went dark. Vega Prime was different. It was a major military base with thick walls, powerful guns, and shields that could stop almost anything. 8,000 of the best Jurian soldiers lived there. Their weapons were the newest and strongest in the Empire. The base sent daily reports to Imperial Command. Each one said the same thing: all clear, no problems. Until the day a broken message came through instead. Commander Jinho was in the communications room when it arrived. The voice sounded scared, which was not normal for a Jurian soldier. "Base under attack. Unprecedented. Vessel configuration. Weapons unknown. Shield holding but can't maintain. They're using asterisk something asterisk that." Then nothing. Jinho played it again. Then again. Her hand shook as she called her superior. "Sir, I think Vega Prime is gone." Within an hour, Admiral Taiwan watched the message with his top generals. Their faces showed no emotion, but their tight grips on their chairs told a different story. "Who could attack Vega Prime? And when?" asked General Sun Ki. No one answered. No one knew. 3 battle cruisers raced to Vega Prime. They arrived 2 days later, weapons hot and ready for a fight. But they found no enemy ships. Just silence. Captain Hyunwoo led the first team onto the base. What they found chilled his blood. "Admiral, the base is empty," he reported. "All 8,000 soldiers are gone. But there's no blood, no bodies, no signs of a fight." "That's impossible," snapped Taiwan. "Check again." They checked, and checked again. The doors were unlocked. The lights worked. Food sat cold on plates in the dining hall. Beds were unmade, as if people had just gotten up. But no one was there. "It's like they all just vanished," said Hyunwoo, his voice low. "But the strange thing is the computers. Every memory core is wiped clean. Just static." Back on his flagship, Taiwan paced his room. For the first time in his career, he felt something new. Fear. "Call the War Council," he ordered. "All of them." The Imperial War Council had not held an emergency meeting in 12 years. The 13 most powerful Jurian leaders gathered in a secure room deep inside the Imperial Palace on the homeworld. Some had to travel for days to get there. "Something is hunting us," said Taiwan when they were all seated. "Something that can defeat our best defenses and take our people without a trace." General Maicha, oldest of the group, leaned forward. "You think it's the Terra humans from that report, don't you?" Taiwan nodded slowly. "Their ships were described as having unusual shapes, different from anything we know. But they are so far away," argued another general. "And primitive." "Maybe not as primitive as we thought," said Taiwan. He showed them a star map with red dots where ships and bases had gone silent. "Whatever it is, it's moving toward the core worlds. Toward us." Minister Hansel, who rarely spoke, cleared his throat. "We should send a message. Try to talk to them." The room fell silent. The Jurian Empire didn't talk to other races. They conquered them. "And say what?" asked Taiwan. "Please stop taking our soldiers." No, we respond with force. Always. The council voted. The decision was made. The Jurian Empire would gather its largest fleet ever and destroy whatever threatened them. As the meeting ended, an aide rushed in with a message. Another base had gone silent, this one even closer to the homeworld. Taiwan looked at the worried faces around him. We move now. All ships. Full battle alert. For the first time in generations, the Jurian Empire prepared not to attack, but to defend itself. The biggest fleet in Jurian history waited in space near the Arcturus star. 37 warships floated in perfect formation. The ships were smooth and round, like dark gray eggs with glowing blue lines running along their sides. 3 massive dreadnoughts formed the center of the fleet, each one 5 miles long. Smaller cruisers and fast attack ships circled around them. Admiral Ta-1 stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominance *. His gray hands were clasped behind his back as he stared at the large view screen. The stars shone cold and distant. Somewhere out there was the enemy who had taken thousands of his soldiers without a trace. All ships report ready, Admiral, said Commander Du Yun. Weapons charge, shields at maximum. Ta-1 nodded. And our trap? Set, sir. If anything comes out of hyperspace, we'll know exactly where. The bridge was quiet except for the soft beeping of computers. Officers spoke in whispers. Everyone felt the tension. The mighty Jurian Empire had never faced an unknown enemy like this before. Captain Min Su approached Ta-1 with a tablet. Sir, I've studied all reports from our lost outposts. There's a pattern to the attacks. They're systematic, not random. Meaning? Meaning our enemy is testing us, learning our weaknesses before making a major move. Ta-1 frowned. That was what he would have done. An alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed across the bridge. Hyperspace rupture detected, shouted the sensor officer. Something's coming through. The main screen showed a swirling blue hole opening in the blackness of space. The fleet's weapons locked onto the spot, ready to fire the moment anything appeared. Multiple ships? Asked Ta-1. No, sir, just one. A ship emerged from the hyperspace hole, but not a fleet. Not even a group, just one lone vessel. The Jurian officers stared in confusion. The ship before them looked nothing like they expected. Where Jurian ships were smooth and elegant, this ship was all sharp angles and flat surfaces. It had strange bulges and protruding weapons systems exposed to space. Parts of it seemed unfinished, with metal frameworks visible. It was painted a dull gray with red markings in an unknown language. Size comparison? Asked Ta-1, his voice steady despite his surprise. Large, sir, about half the size of our dreadnought. But its configuration is unusual. The strange ship just sat there, making no moves, neither advancing nor retreating. Are they scanning us? Ta-1 asked. Yes, sir, and we're scanning them. Their hull is mostly metal alloy, primitive compared to our bimetal composites, but there are materials we can't identify. Ta-1 studied the ship. It was ugly by Jurian standards. Chunky, brute-looking, like it was built by people who cared only about function, not beauty. Open a channel, he ordered. All frequencies. When the communications officer nodded, Ta-1 spoke clearly. Attention, unknown vessel. You have violated Jurian imperial space and committed acts of war against our installations. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. The bridge crew waited. Seconds ticked by. Then a minute. No response, sir, said the communications officer. They hear us, said Ta-1. They're choosing not to answer. Typical primitive. A message appeared on the main screen. Text only. No voice or video. Terran Federation Battleship, Indomitable *. We will not issue our RENDR. You may fire when ready. The bridge went silent. Officers looked at each other in disbelief. Terrans, muttered Ta-1. So it is the humans. Sir, said Commander Du Yun. They must be insane. One ship against our fleet. Taiwan studied the message again. The simple words. The direct challenge. There was something about it that touched a long-forgotten part of him. The part that had once valued courage before years of easy conquests dulled it. Perhaps they are very brave, said Taiwan quietly. Or perhaps they know something we don't. He turned to his weapons officer. Target that ship. All ships to fire on my command. Across the Jurian fleet, thousands of weapons systems locked onto the lone Terran vessel. Energy built up in gun barrels. Targeting computers calculated firing solutions. The Indomitable Asterisk still made no moves. It simply waited. Sir, said Captain Minsu, should we try talking to them? Find out why they attacked our bases. Taiwan shook his head. The Jurian Empire does not negotiate with enemies. He paused. But I will remember their courage. He gave the order. All ships. Fire. The sky lit up as the Jurian fleet fired all at once. Streams of blue plasma cut through space. Green quantum beams twisted reality itself. Yellow gravity weapons bent light around them. All these weapons hit the single human ship at the same time. The Indomitable Asterisk sat there, taking the full force of the attack. Its shields glowed bright blue, getting brighter and brighter until they seemed to pop like a bubble. For a moment, the bridge crew of the Eternal Dominance cheered. But when the light faded, the human ship was still there. It had some burn marks on its hull, but it was mostly fine. Impossible, Taiwan said quietly. He blinked twice, not believing his eyes. No ship can survive that. Fire again. The Jurian fleet fired a second time. This wave of energy should have been enough to destroy a small moon. But something strange happened when it hit the human ship. The energy didn't make the shields glow this time. Instead, it seemed to flow along the odd angles and bumps of the ship's hull, like water flowing down a mountain. The energy moved into those parts that stuck out from the ship, and then disappeared. Commander Du Yun looked at his screens with wide eyes. Sir, they're absorbing our attacks somehow. Before Taiwan could respond, the human ship began to move. It turned slightly, aiming what looked like long tubes at the Jurian fleet. They're going to fire, said Captain Minsu. But our sensors don't detect any energy buildup. What kind of weapons don't use energy? Asked Taiwan. He got his answer a second later. The human ship fired, but not with beams or energy pulses. It shot solid metal objects. The Jurian officers almost laughed at such primitive weapons until they saw what happened. These metal bullets moved incredibly fast, close to the speed of light. And they did something no Jurian had seen before. They blinked in and out of normal space as they flew, becoming ghosts that passed right through the Jurian shields that were designed to stop energy, not solid objects. 3 Jurian cruisers exploded as the bullets tore through them. There was no time for the crews to escape. Evasive action, shouted Taiwan. All ships spread out. But the human ship fired again. This time, 5 more Jurian ships burst into flames and broken metal. What happened next wasn't really a battle. It was a slaughter. The human ship moved with impossible speed for something so big. It turned faster than the Jurian ships, accelerated quicker, and seemed to know where the Jurian fleet would move before they moved there. They're predicting our standard evasion patterns, realized Taiwan. Change tactics. Random movements only. But it didn't help. The Indomitable Asterisk kept firing those strange bullets that blinked in and out of reality. Jurian ships kept exploding. Some tried to escape into hyperspace, but the human ship somehow stopped them, pulling them back to normal space. In just 10 minutes, half the Jurian fleet was gone. We need to talk to them, said Commander Du Yun, his voice shaking. We need to surrender. The Jurian Empire does not surrender, said Taiwan, though his voice lacked conviction. All remaining ships form a defensive circle around the Eternal Dominance We'll concentrate our firepower. The surviving ships moved to protect the flagship. Together, they fired again at the human vessel. This time, some of their shots seemed to do damage. Small explosions blossomed on the Indomitable's hull. For a moment, Taiwan felt hope. But then the human ship did something new. It released smaller craft from its sides. These little ships were just as ugly and angular as their mothership, but faster. They zoomed toward the Jurian fleet, dodging energy beams with ease. "What are they doing?" asked Captain Minsu. "Those craft are too small to cause serious damage. They're not attacking the ships," realized Taiwan as he watched the screens. "They're coming for us. They're boarding craft." The smaller human ships attached themselves to the hulls of the remaining Jurian vessels. Cutting tools burned through the metal skin of the ships. "Prepare for boarders," ordered Taiwan. "All soldiers to battle stations." On the Eternal Dominance Jurian warriors grabbed their weapons and ran to defend their ship. These warriors had never lost a battle on the ground. They were confident. But that confidence vanished when the first human soldiers came through the holes they had cut. The humans wore thick armor that seemed to absorb energy weapons just like their ship did. They moved with practiced skill, clearing rooms with brutal efficiency. On the bridge, Taiwan could only watch the security feeds as his ship was taken, section by section. He saw his proud warriors fall before the human invaders. "They're heading for the bridge," reported the security officer, her voice tight with fear. Taiwan straightened his uniform and drew his sidearm. He had never expected to die in battle. The Jurian Empire had been too powerful for too long. "It seems," he said quietly to his bridge crew, "that we have finally met our match." The bridge doors began to glow red as the humans cut through them. The bridge doors fell with a loud crash. Human soldiers stormed in, moving fast and sure. They wore thick gray armor that covered them from head to toe. The armor had small lights on it and made soft humming sounds when they moved. Each soldier carried a weapon that looked simple but deadly. Admiral Taiwan stood tall as the humans surrounded him. His bridge crew had dropped their weapons. Some had their hands up. Others lay dead or hurt on the floor. Through the big windows of the bridge, Taiwan could see his once mighty fleet now broken and drifting. One human stepped forward. This one's armor had red stripes on the shoulders. The human reached up and took off their helmet. Taiwan was surprised to see a female face. She had light brown skin and short black hair. Her eyes were what struck him most. They showed a hard, sharp intelligence he had never seen in any other species. "Admiral Taiwan," she said in perfect Jurian language. "I am Admiral Sujin of the Terran Federation Battleship Indomitable *. Taiwan nodded stiffly. "You know my name." "We know much about the Jurian Empire," said Sujin. "Your ships, your weapons, your conquests. And yet we knew almost nothing about you," said Taiwan. "A mistake, it seems." Sujin walked around the bridge, looking at the Jurian technology with curious eyes. "Your empire has been pushing closer to our space for years, taking worlds, enslaving people. We let it go on, watching and learning, until you took that outpost near the Orion Spur and killed the peaceful traders there, including 3 human merchants." "Your people were there?" Taiwan asked, surprised. "We didn't know." "You didn't ask," said Sujin. "You never ask. You just take." Taiwan looked out at his destroyed fleet again. "One ship," he said softly. "You sent just one ship against our entire fleet." Sujin's mouth turned up slightly at the corners. "We didn't want to seem like bullies. The Indomitable is actually one of our older ships. Not our best." Taiwan felt cold at these words. If this was an old ship, what did their new ones look like? "What about my soldiers? The ones from our bases?" he asked. "Safe," said Sujin. "We took them to learn about your people. No one was hurt. They will be returned." A day later, Taiwan sat in a plain but comfortable room on the human ship. They called it a detention facility, but it was nicer than many Jurian living quarters. He had been given food, clean clothes, and access to some basic information about humans. What he learned shocked him. Humans came from a planet with stronger gravity than most worlds. Their home had wild weather, from burning hot deserts to freezing icelands, and they had fought each other constantly throughout their history. While the Jurian had united thousands of years ago, humans had kept fighting themselves until quite recently. "This is why your weapons are so different," said Taiwan when Sujin visited him. "You developed along a completely different path." Sujin nodded. "Your people focused on energy manipulation. Clean, elegant, powerful against most enemies. But we focused on kinetic weapons, things that hit hard and fast. And we built redundant systems into everything. Because when you fight in Earth's oceans or deserts or space, things break often. And our shields were designed to stop energy weapons," finished Sujin. "But solid objects moving at near light speed, phasing in and out of normal space. Your shields had no defense against that." Over the next weeks, representatives from both sides met. The humans didn't want to destroy the Jurian Empire. They just wanted them to stop conquering other worlds. To Taiwan's surprise, the Terran Federation offered fair terms. The Jurian could keep the worlds they had already taken, minus a few that would go back to their original owners, but they had to stop expanding. The Jurian Council was not happy, but they weren't stupid. They signed the treaty. Years later, Taiwan, now retired, wrote the official history of what became known as the Humbling. It marked the day the Jurian Empire learned they were not the strongest power in the galaxy. The day they discovered that somewhere among the stars, there was always a bigger, stronger predator. The final line of his book became famous throughout Jurian space, and the humans, strange as it seems, turned out to be fair and reasonable once we stopped trying to conquer everyone around us. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson they taught us, that true strength lies not in domination, but in cooperation. After the Humbling, the galaxy entered a new age of peace. The Jurian Empire and the Terran Federation became unlikely allies, and Admiral Taiwan and Admiral Sujin, once enemies, became friends who often met to play board games and laugh about the day one human ship changed history forever. "Admiral Taiwan," she said in perfect Jurian language. "I am Admiral Sujin of the Terran Federation Battleship * Indomitable *. Taiwan nodded stiffly. "You know my name." "We know much about the Jurian Empire," said Sujin. "Your ships, your weapons, your conquests. And yet we knew almost nothing about you," said Taiwan. "A mistake, it seems." Sujin walked around the bridge, looking at the Jurian technology with curious eyes. "Your empire has been pushing closer to our space for years, taking worlds, enslaving people. We let it go on, watching and learning, until you took that outpost near the Orion Spur and killed the peaceful traders there, including 3 human merchants. Your people were there?" Taiwan asked, surprised. "We didn't know." "You didn't ask," said Sujin. "You never ask. You just take." Taiwan looked out at his destroyed fleet again. "One ship," he said softly. "You sent just one ship against our entire fleet." Sujin's mouth turned up slightly at the corners. "We didn't want to seem like bullies. The Indomitable * is actually one of our older ships. Not our best." Taiwan felt cold at these words. If this was an old ship, what did their new ones look like? "What about my soldiers? The ones from our bases?" he asked. "Safe," said Sujin. "We took them to learn about your people. No one was hurt. They will be returned." A day later, Taiwan sat in a plain but comfortable room on the human ship. They called it a detention facility, but it was nicer than many Jurian living quarters. He had been given food, clean clothes, and access to some basic information about humans. What he learned shocked him. Humans came from a planet with stronger gravity than most worlds. Their home had wild weather, from burning hot deserts to freezing icelands, and they had fought each other constantly throughout their history. While the Jurian had united thousands of years ago, humans had kept fighting themselves until quite recently. "This is why your weapons are so different," said Taiwan when Sujin visited him. "You developed along a completely different path." Sujin nodded. "Your people focused on energy manipulation. Clean, elegant, powerful against most enemies. But we focused on kinetic weapons, things that hit hard and fast. And we built redundant systems into everything. Because when you fight in Earth's oceans or deserts or space, things break often. And our shields were designed to stop energy weapons," finished Sujin. "But solid objects moving at near light speed, phasing in and out of normal space. Your shields had no defense against that." Over the next weeks, representatives from both sides met. The humans didn't want to destroy the Jurian Empire. They just wanted them to stop conquering other worlds. To Taiwan's surprise, the Terran Federation offered fair terms. The Jurian could keep the worlds they had already taken, minus a few that would go back to their original owners. But they had to stop expanding. The Jurian Council was not happy. But they weren't stupid. They signed the treaty. Years later, Taiwan, now retired, wrote the official history of what became known as the Humbling. It marked the day the Jurian Empire learned they were not the strongest power in the galaxy. The day they discovered that somewhere among the stars there was always a bigger, stronger predator. The final line of his book became famous throughout Jurian space, and the humans, strange as it seems, turned out to be fair and reasonable once we stopped trying to conquer everyone around us. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson they taught us, that true strength lies not in domination, but in cooperation. After the Humbling, the galaxy entered a new age of peace. The Jurian Empire and the Terran Federation became unlikely allies, and Admiral Taiwan and Admiral Sujin, once enemies, became friends who often met to play board games and laugh about the day one human ship changed history forever.